4 days to make a game. This is my participation to the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam 2025. If you've never heard of a game jam, the concept is simple. You have a limited number of days to make a game from scratch, and it needs to fit in the theme of the jam. For the GMTK Game Jam 2025, the theme was loop. My submission for that was a game called Event Horizon, where you control a ship around a black hole that's trying to pull you in. Your goal is to save other ships as fast as you can. Well, there's actually a bit more to the game, but I'll come back to that later. Let's talk about how I made this game. There are 3 main things I wanted to do for this game. First, I wanted a simple game that I could finish in 4 days, because 4 days is a very short amount of time to make a game. Secondly, I wanted to focus on visuals and have something that would look nice, at least to my standards, which are not necessarily very high. I wanted to make sure the visuals were polished, and this was mainly to counteract the simple gameplay of the game. Number 3 was a good soundtrack. This came up later in the creation process, because at first, I didn't have a solid idea. See, the word loop felt like a good theme for me at first, but I realized quickly that I had too many ideas, and they would take too long to execute. So I had to downgrade to a very basic gameplay. I really wanted to make sure the game would be finished and playable. And I ended up with a very simple concept. You must complete the loop. To do that, you navigate between 2 circles, and if you touch one of them, you lose. Simple enough, right? This was done on day 1 of the jam, and by the end of the day, I had a working game. Definitely not great looking, but the gameplay was here. It was also very simple. And looking at the current state of the game, I realized that this kind of looked like a black hole. From there, I decided to try to get the art style to match that. On day 2, before working on the visuals, I needed something to keep the players in a loop. The goal is to navigate around the circle in a clockwise manner. But what if people want to do the opposite? To avoid that, I have to push the players to go in the direction I want. So I added checkpoints that appear one at a time, in a clockwise manner. Later on, I changed these invisible checkpoints to be ships that you have to save. And that's all it took to have this loop. Of course, you could always go the opposite way, but that would take a while, and people would likely ignore this idea. And ultimately, even going backwards, you still complete the loop. Multiple ones, actually. Once I got that, I started working on the visuals. Creating a black hole is not easy, and especially not in 2D. So I decided to keep things simple looking, but still accurate. To make a black hole, you need 4 things. First, a sphere, or in our case, a circle, that is black. Then another sphere around it that is white, representing the accretion disk. Then another layer with a reddish color to represent debris that is absorbed. This goes hand to hand with a white circle, but you could go without it if you want to keep things simple. Finally, last thing you need is some distortion around the black hole. Because this is 2D, you can't really create a refraction effect. What I did was actually just creating ripples around the black hole. In this case, this is applied to the space background I have, which is actually 2 images put on top of each other. This gives the illusion of a time-space distortion around the black hole. Now, a bit of processing, mainly some bloom on top of that, really helps the general style. And that's it. Simple, but straight to the point. Of course, this is not a scientifically perfect black hole representation, far from it. But this is a video game, and this representation is quite close to the one that people have in mind when they hear the word black hole. And that's all you need in a video game. We're not doing science, but we're just trying to have some fun. Now, this is all I need for the game to work. You have the visuals and a gameplay loop. Just go around the black hole, from right to left, and if you don't die, you win. Great. But it's a bit boring, because once you're done, there's nothing else to do. So people can be done with the game in less than a minute or 2, and if you're really good, probably in 20 seconds. I did a timer and a base score logic to keep people entertained by the idea of trying to get a better score. But that's still not enough. What we need is more gameplay somehow. And this was the main task for day 3. So, we're stuck in a loop, right? What if we could escape? This is the second gameplay aspect of the game. You did your job, congratulations. You can repeat that again and again. Keep being stuck in a time loop. Wait, what if you can break the loop? Now the real game happens. You have hidden objectives, which I later made more clear by having an objectives panel. This way, players will know there is more than just looping around. This is important because someone who is struggling with a game might just give up, thinking that, it's just about the initial loop. Having the objectives panel with hidden objectives push people to realize that there is probably more to the game than just looping. So here are all the hidden objectives of the game that I decided to implement. First, after the loop, you can break free. You are no longer stuck in the black hole. You can escape the gravity. 2, you can try to leave the area, but doing that will actually bring you back to the beginning. 3, you can also do a loop again, without having to stay in the regression disk. 4, after getting 3 objectives done, a new option appears in the objectives panel. You can now use a weapon. 5, now, you can try to shoot the black hole and destroy it. Well, you won't destroy it. You're just going to feed it until it absorbs all, and that's the real ending of the game. I implemented these features, and by the end of day 3, I was pretty much done with the game. Now it's day 4, and I only have a few hours to submit the project. Great, everything is ready, everything was uploaded, everything is fine. Well, turns out 2 hours before the deadline, even though I already submitted my game, I decided to implement a hard mode in the game. Because why not, right? The main reason for this idea is also the main issue with the game. To me, this is not difficult enough. The game can be done very quickly. Except that, with this statement, I'm expressing a strong bias. I've been working on the game for the last days, debugging and testing it. I became really good at it. And because of that, it felt like I needed a harder mode. But, as suggested by people who played my game during the jam, it was not that easy. Except I didn't know that. And that's why I made a hard mode, where the gravity of the black hole is 5 times stronger, making it very difficult to move. I also noticed some issues, so I had to fix a lot of things, including the new code for the hard mode. Time was slowly running out, and the panic started to begin. But I did it, 20 minutes before the deadline. The game was finally done, with an extra objective, which is just complete hard mode, and a different timer to tell players how long it took them to complete the game on hard mode. Great. Now, if you want to try the game and see how fast you can beat it, the link is in the description. My best is 10.89 seconds. So, if you try the game, just tell me your scores in the comments.